The sky turned dark over Seoul that Tuesday morning, not from rain clouds, but from something much worse. Han Ju stood at his apartment window, coffee mug frozen halfway to his lips. 5 massive shapes blocked the sun. They looked like bears, but bears made of metal, bears the size of buildings. "This can't be real," Han whispered. But it was. The giant bear machines landed with ground-shaking thuds that made his windows rattle. Han nearly dropped his mug. His small ferret, Bit, rushed to hide under the couch, making scared chirping sounds. Han turned on the TV. Every channel showed the same thing. The metal bears crushing buildings under their huge paws. People ran screaming through the streets. The bears moved with a strange grace for such large things. Unknown origin. The news anchor was saying, voice shaking, "All citizens must." The TV went black. Then all the lights in Han's apartment died too. Han was not like most people. At 32 years old, he didn't panic easily. As a cryptolinguist, someone who studied and decoded unknown languages, he had trained his mind to stay calm and look for patterns. But even he felt fear crawl up his spine as he heard the awful metal grinding of the bears getting closer. "Bit, we need to go," Han said, grabbing his backpack. He always kept it ready with basic supplies. Being prepared was part of who he was. The ferret poked its head out from under the couch, whiskers twitching. "Come on, buddy." Han picked up Bit and placed him in the special pocket of his jacket that the ferret liked. Then he added his laptop, hard drives, and some basic equipment to his bag. If these were aliens, their language might be the key to understanding them. The building shook. Han stumbled to the window. 3 blocks away, one of the metal bears crushed a shopping mall under its paw. People poured out of broken doors and windows. The bear made no sound as it continued its destruction. Han's phone buzzed with an emergency alert. "Evacuation order. All citizens proceed to NEAREST underground station. Military personnel will guide you." He ran down 16 flights of stairs because the elevators weren't working. Other people ran too, some crying, some completely silent with shock. Outside was chaos. Cars crashed into each other as drivers tried to escape. The air filled with dust from fallen buildings. Han followed the crowd toward the subway station. He felt Bit trembling in his pocket. Every few minutes, the ground would shake as another bear took a step somewhere in the city. "Dr. Han. Dr. Han Ju." Someone called. Han turned to see a woman in a military uniform waving at him. Her name tag read Captain Kim. "How do you know my name?" Han asked, confused. "I'm Captain Kim Soe. We need you to come with us now," she said, pointing to a black van with tinted windows. "Your work on unknown communication systems. We need it." Han hesitated. "But the evacuation. This is more important. The government is gathering experts. You're on the list." She looked at his pocket where Bit's head poked out. "The animal has to stay." "Then I stay too," Han said firmly. "Bit goes where I go." Captain Kim looked annoyed but nodded quickly. "Fine. We don't have time to argue." As they drove away, Han looked out the back window. A metal bear stood where his apartment building had been. It was completely flattened now. The bear turned its head, and for a moment, Han thought it was looking right at him. "Where are we going?" Han asked. "Underground facility. Safe from them," Captain Kim answered, her eyes on the road as she swerved around abandoned cars. "We don't know what they want or how to talk to them. That's where you come in." Han felt Bit moving in his pocket. The ferret seemed agitated, making rapid twitching movements that weren't normal. "What's wrong with your pet?" Captain Kim asked. "I don't know," Han said, stroking Bit's head. "He's never acted like this before." As they drove into a tunnel leading deep underground, Han didn't realize that his small ferret would soon become Earth's most important translator. The underground facility was huge. Han had never seen anything like it. They drove through a long tunnel until they reached a large metal door. Guards checked their IDs before letting them in. Inside, hundreds of people rushed around. Some wore lab coats, others military uniforms. Screens on the walls showed cities around the world being crushed by the bear machines. "This way," Captain Kim said, leading Han down a hallway. "The others are waiting." Han kept one hand on Bit, who was still acting strange in his pocket. The ferret's body twitched in an odd rhythm. They entered a room with a large table in the center. 3 people looked up as they walked in. "This is Dr. Han Ju, the cryptolinguist I told you about," Captain Kim said. "Dr. Han, meet Park Min-ho, our tech expert." A young man with round glasses nodded. "Nice to meet you." "And Lee Yuna, our communications officer." A woman with short hair gave Han a quick smile. "We've been trying to understand what these things want," Captain Kim said, pointing to a screen showing one of the bear machines. "But they don't respond to any of our messages." "Have they tried to communicate at all?" Han asked, setting his bag down. Lee Yuna pressed some buttons on her computer. "They send out signals. We've recorded them, but they don't make any sense." She played a recording. It was a strange mix of sounds, clicks, buzzes, and low rumbles. Bit suddenly jumped out of Han's pocket and onto the table. The ferret's body twitched, and his head moved back and forth in time with the sounds. "What's wrong with your pet?" Park Min-ho asked, leaning away from Bit. "I don't know," Han said, watching his ferret closely. "But look, he's moving in a pattern." Everyone stared as Bit's movements matched the rhythm of the alien sounds perfectly. "Play it again," Han said. Lee Yuna replayed the recording. Once again, Bit responded the same way, twitching and moving as if dancing to music only he could hear. "I think he can understand it somehow," Han said, "or at least his body is responding to it." "That's ridiculous," Captain Kim said. "It's just a ferret." Han shook his head. "Maybe not. Ferrets have very different hearing than humans, and their brains process sounds differently too." Park Min-ho looked interested. "What are you thinking, Dr. Han?" "I need equipment, a neural scanner, computers, and all the recordings you have of the aliens," Han said. "And I need a quiet room to work." Captain Kim looked doubtful, but nodded. "Fine, but we need results. More cities are falling every hour." They gave Han a small lab at the end of a hallway. Park Min-ho helped him set up computers and equipment. Han carefully placed Vid in a comfortable cage where he could observe him. "What exactly are you looking for?" Park asked as he connected wires. "I'm not sure yet," Han admitted, "but Bit is responding to their signals in a way that humans can't. There's a connection there." For the next few hours, Han played different alien recordings and watched Bit's reactions. He took notes on every twitch and movement. Around midnight, Captain Kim came to check on his progress. "Anything?" she asked, looking tired. More cities had fallen. The bear machines were now in countries all over the world. "Maybe," Han said. He showed her his notes. "Bit responds differently to different parts of their messages. I think their language might be based on neural patterns similar to what small mammals like ferrets have." "So what does that mean for us?" she asked. "It means," Han said slowly, "that we've been trying to talk to them all wrong. We've been using human language patterns, but they don't think like humans." He picked up Bit and held him gently. "They might think more like ferrets." Captain Kim stared at the small animal. "Are you saying that your pet ferret might be the key to talking to the aliens?" "Yes," Han said. "And if we can talk to them, maybe we can stop them." Outside the underground facility, miles above them, another bear machine crushed a hospital under its massive paw. 2 weeks passed. Han barely slept. His small lab was now filled with computers and wires. Charts covered the walls, showing Bit's brain patterns when he heard the alien signals. "You need rest," Lee Yuna said, bringing Han a cup of coffee. She had been helping him with the recordings. "No time," Han said. He pointed to the screen. "Look at this." The screen showed 2 wavy lines. One was from Bit's brain when he heard the alien sounds. The other was from the alien signal itself. They match, Lee Eunice said, eyes wide. How is that possible? I think the aliens communicate using neural patterns similar to ferrets, Han explained. Their language is based on brain waves, not sounds like human languages. Just then, Captain Kim rushed in. We've lost Beijing and Moscow, she said. Her face was tired and worried. The military is failing everywhere. We need something soon, Dr. Han. Han nodded. I've made a breakthrough. The aliens, let's call them Ursins since their machines look like bears. They don't think like us. Their language mirrors the neural patterns of small mammals. Like your ferret, Captain Kim said. Yes, Bit's brain processes information in a way that's similar to how the Ursins communicate. Han picked up Bit and stroked his fur. That's why our weapons don't work well against them. We design technology based on human thinking, but they think completely differently. Park Min-ho joined them, carrying new equipment. So what's our next step? Han looked at his ferret. I need to build a neural interface, something that can translate Bit's brain patterns into data we can understand. Can you do that? Captain Kim asked. I think so, Han said. But I'll need help and more equipment. For the next 3 days, Han and Park Min-ho worked without stopping. They built a small helmet that fit over Bit's head, with sensors that could read his brain activity. They connected it to computers that could analyze the patterns. When they finished, Han gently placed the helmet on Bit. The ferret didn't seem to mind. Now we play the recordings and see what happens, Han said. Lee Yuna played the alien messages. Bit's ears perked up. The computer screen showed his brain patterns changing. Look, Park Min-ho pointed to another screen. The computer is translating it into patterns we can understand. Slowly, shapes and colors appeared on the screen. They weren't words, but they were organized in a way that suggested meaning. It's like seeing their thoughts, Han said. Basic concepts, not words. They worked for hours, watching as the computer translated more and more of the alien language through Bit's brain patterns. I think I'm starting to understand, Han said finally. They communicate in concepts of movement and space. It's so different from human language. Can you talk back to them? Captain Kim asked. Not yet, Han admitted, but I'm getting closer. The key is that their war machines all receive signals from one central ship. If we can disrupt those signals, we might be able to stop them, Captain Kim finished. Just then, the ground shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. They're getting closer, Lee Yuna said, fear in her voice. How much time do we have? Han asked. Captain Kim checked her tablet. The nearest bear machine is 40 miles away and moving toward us. Maybe 2 days. Han looked at Bit, who was still wearing the small helmet. We need to work faster, he said. I need more alien signals to analyze. I can help with that, Park Min-ho said. I've been working on a receiver that can pick up more of their communications. Good, Han said. And I need to understand why they're doing this. Are they trying to destroy us, or is there another reason? Captain Kim nodded. I'll gather the team. We need a plan. As they left the lab, Han stayed behind with Bit. He carefully removed the helmet and held his ferret close. You're the only one who can understand them, he whispered. You're going to save us all. Bit made a small chirping sound and curled up in Han's hands, unaware that he was now Earth's greatest hope. The next morning, Han woke up at his desk. He had fallen asleep watching Bit's brain patterns. Park Min-ho stood in the doorway, holding 2 cups of instant noodles. Eat, Park said, handing Han one of the cups. You need food to think. Han took the noodles and ate quickly. His mind was racing with new ideas. I think I've got it, he said between bites. Watch this. He turned to his computer and played an alien message they hadn't decoded yet. Bit, wearing his special helmet, twitched and moved. The computer screen filled with patterns. See these patterns? Han pointed to the screen. They repeat. It's like they're saying the same thing over and over. What are they saying? Park asked. I think it's a command structure. Orders from the mothership to the bear machines. Han typed quickly on his keyboard. Look at this one. A new pattern appeared. It was different from the others. This message was sent right before one of the bears attacked a military base. Han explained. And this one. He showed another pattern. This was sent before they destroyed a power plant. Park's eyes widened. They're attack commands. Yes, and they all come from one source, the mothership. Han stood up and paced around the small lab. If we can disrupt these commands, we might be able to stop the bears. Just then, Captain Kim and Lee Yuna rushed in. We've got a problem, Captain Kim said. The bear machine is now only 20 miles away. It changed direction in the night. It's coming straight for us. How did they find us? Park asked, shocked. I don't know, Captain Kim said, but we need to evacuate. No, Han said firmly. I'm close to a breakthrough. I need more time. We don't have time, Captain Kim argued. Han pointed to his computer. I can create a signal that might confuse them. Using Bit's neural patterns, I can make something that will interfere with their commands. Captain Kim looked doubtful, but nodded. How long do you need? A few hours, Han said. I need to connect Bit's neural interface to a stronger transmitter. I'll help, Park offered. For the next 3 hours, they worked quickly. Han wrote code that could translate Bit's brain patterns into a signal they could broadcast. Park built a stronger transmitter using parts from around the facility. Lee Yuna monitored the approaching bear machine. It's slowing down, she reported. It's like it's searching for something. Us, Captain Kim said grimly. It's searching for us. Finally, Han was ready. He connected Bit's neural interface to the new transmitter. Here's what we'll do, he explained to the others. I'll play one of their command signals for Bit. His brain will process it in a way similar to how the Ursans think. Then we'll broadcast Bit's brain patterns back at them, but with small changes. What will that do? Lee Yuna asked. It should create confusion in their system, Han said, like static on a radio. It might not stop them, but it could slow them down. It's worth trying, Captain Kim decided. Do it. Han played the alien command signal for Bit. The ferret's brain lit up on the monitor. Then Han pressed a button, and the transmitter sent Bit's modified brain patterns toward the approaching bear machine. For a minute, nothing happened. Then Lee Yuna shouted. It stopped. The bear stopped moving. They all rushed to her screen. The giant bear machine stood frozen, 15 miles away. It worked, Park said, amazed. But then the bear started moving again, slowly at first, then picking up speed. They're adapting, Han said. But this proves my theory. We can affect them using Bit's brain patterns. Captain Kim looked at Han. Can you make something stronger? Something that could disable them completely? Han thought for a moment. Maybe, but I need to understand more about how they think, how their whole system works. He looked at the others. We need to get inside one of those bears. That's suicide, Captain Kim said. Not if we choose a damaged one, Han suggested. One that's already partly disabled. Captain Kim was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. I know where we can find one, but it will be dangerous. We don't have a choice, Han said, gently stroking Bit. It's our only chance. Night fell as they drove toward the damaged bear machine. It had been hit by fighter jets the day before, and now stood still in a forest clearing, 30 miles from the underground base. Remember the plan, Captain Kim said as she stopped the van at the edge of the forest. We get in, collect data, and get out. No heroes. Han nodded. He had a small backpack with equipment to record the bear's internal signals. Bit was in his special jacket pocket, wearing the neural interface helmet. Why bring the ferret? Captain Kim asked, frowning. Bit can sense things we can't, Han explained. If the signals change, he'll know first. The team moved quietly through the dark forest. Han, Captain Kim, Park Minho, and Lee Yuna. They wore dark clothes and carried flashlights with red filters that were harder to see from a distance. The damaged bear machine was huge up close. It stood as tall as a 15-story building, its metal body reflecting the moonlight. One of its legs was badly damaged, and part of its head was torn open. "There," Park whispered, pointing to a hole in the bear's side. "We can get in through there." They climbed carefully into the machine. Inside was a maze of strange metal corridors and rooms. Everything had an odd curved shape that didn't look like human design. "This way," Captain Kim led them deeper into the bear. "We need to find the control center." They walked for 10 minutes through the strange corridors. Suddenly, Bit began to twitch in Han's pocket. "Wait," Han said. "Bit's picking up something." He took out his tablet and connected it to Bit's neural interface. The screen showed intense brain activity. "There are signals all around us," Han said. "Even though this bear is damaged, it's still connected to the mothership." "Can you record them?" Lee Yuna asked. "Yes, but there's something else." Han studied his tablet. "These signals are different from the command signals. They're more complex." They continued forward, following Bit's reactions until they reached a large room in the center of the bear. Strange lights glowed on the walls. In the middle was something like a control panel, but without buttons or screens. "This must be where they control the bear," Park said, looking around in wonder. Han connected his equipment to various parts of the room, recording everything. "This is amazing," he said. "The whole machine is like a big brain." As they worked, Bit suddenly became very agitated. "Something's wrong," Han said, checking his tablet. "The signals are changing." Just then, lights began to flash throughout the room. A low humming sound started. "It's waking up," Captain Kim shouted. "We need to go." They grabbed their equipment and ran back the way they came. The corridors seemed to shift and change around them. "I think it knows we're here," Lee Yuna said, fear in her voice. They finally reached the hole they had entered through. Captain Kim helped everyone climb out. As Han was about to leave, he stopped. "Wait," he said. "I need one more reading." He quickly connected his tablet to a glowing panel near the exit. Data flowed onto the screen. "Han, come on," Captain Kim called from outside. The bear machine began to move. Its damaged leg made a terrible grinding noise as it tried to stand up. Han finished downloading the data and climbed out just as the bear's arm swung toward him. He jumped to the ground as the giant metal paw missed him by inches. They ran back to the van and drove away fast. In the rearview mirror, they could see the damaged bear trying to follow, but its broken leg wouldn't let it move quickly. "That was too close," Captain Kim said, breathing hard. "But worth it," Han replied, checking his tablet. "I got something important." "What?" the others asked. "These signals aren't just commands," Han explained. "They're thoughts. The Ursans aren't controlling these machines remotely. They're thinking through them." "What does that mean?" Park asked. Han looked at Bit, who was now calm again. "It means they're not trying to destroy us because they hate us. They're doing it because they think we're not intelligent." "Not intelligent," Lee Yuna said, surprised. "How do you know?" "Because I caught some of their communication about us," Han said. "They don't think we can really communicate. To them, our languages seem primitive. So they're killing us because they think we're animals?" Captain Kim asked, angry. "Basically, yes," Han said. "But now we have a chance to prove them wrong." Back at the underground base, Han worked day and night. The data from the bear machine was more valuable than he had hoped. He spread papers all over his lab, connecting ideas with red string. Bit stayed in his special cage, the neural interface still attached to his small head. "You should sleep," Lee Yuna said, bringing Han some food. "No time," he replied, not looking up from his computer. "I'm close to something big." On his screen were two brain patterns side by side. One was Bit's. The other was from the bear machine. "Look at this," Han said, pointing to the screen. The patterns are similar, but Bit's brain is much simpler. Li Yuna looked confused. What does that mean? It means ferrets, and these aliens evolved similar neural structures, Han explained. Their brains work in similar ways, but the alien brains are more complex. Just then, Park Min-ho rushed in. The bear that was chasing us yesterday is moving again. It's heading this way. Han wasn't surprised. They're tracking us somehow, maybe through our signals. Captain Kim joined them, looking worried. We need to move to another location. Not yet, Han said. I'm too close. I think I can talk to them now. Everyone stared at him. How? Captain Kim asked. Han picked up Bit gently. I've been studying how Bit's brain processes information. Ferrets don't think like humans. They see the world differently. Their neural patterns are closer to how the Ursans communicate. He pointed to his computer. I've built a translation algorithm. It converts human language into patterns similar to Bit's brain waves, which are similar to Ursan communication. So we can send them a message they'll understand. Li Yuna asked, hope in her voice. I think so, Han said. But I need more power, a stronger transmitter. Park thought for a moment. The old radio tower on the mountain. It's powerful enough to send signals into space. Perfect, Han said. We need to go there. It's dangerous, Captain Kim warned. The bears have destroyed most of the area around the mountain. We don't have a choice, Han said. This might be our only chance to stop them. They packed essential equipment into 2 vans. Han carefully placed Bit in his travel cage with the neural interface still attached. The ferret seemed calm, almost as if he understood how important he was. As they drove toward the mountain, they could see 3 bear machines in the distance, destroying what was left of a small town. They're everywhere now, Li Yuna said sadly. Not for long, Han promised, if my plan works. They reached the radio tower just before sunset. It stood tall on the mountainside, somehow untouched by the destruction around it. Park and Han quickly set up their equipment inside the tower's control room. They connected Bit's neural interface to the powerful transmitter. Now comes the hard part, Han said. We need to convert our message into something they'll understand as language, not just noise. What will you tell them? Captain Kim asked. That we're intelligent, that we can communicate, that we want peace. Han typed rapidly on his keyboard, but I need to say it in a way their brains will recognize. For hours, Han worked on the message. He studied how Bit's brain reacted to different human concepts, then created patterns that would translate those concepts into Ursan thought patterns. It's like building a bridge between 2 completely different ways of thinking, he explained as he worked. Humans use words and symbols. The Ursans use pure thought patterns. Bit is the connection between us. Finally, near midnight, Han finished. It's ready, he announced. What exactly does the message say? Li Yuna asked. It explains who we are, that we're thinking beings with our own culture and intelligence, that we want to talk, not fight. Han looked at his small ferret. And it explains how Bit helped us understand them. Will it work? Captain Kim asked. I don't know, Han admitted, but right now it's all we have. He pressed a button, and the message began to transmit. Bit's cage lit up as his neural patterns were amplified and sent into space toward the Ursan mothership. Now all they could do was wait and hope. The first rays of morning sun broke through the windows of the radio tower. Han had not slept. He sat watching his equipment, waiting for any sign that the Ursans had received their message. Bit was curled up in his cage, sleeping peacefully. Anything? Captain Kim asked, bringing Han a cup of coffee. Han shook his head. Nothing yet. Outside, they could see more bear machines in the distance. The giants moved slowly but steadily across the landscape. 5 of them were now visible from the tower windows. They're surrounding us, Park Min-ho said, looking through binoculars. But they're not attacking. It's like they're waiting for something. Maybe they got our message, Li Yuna suggested hopefully. Han checked his equipment again. The message is still transmitting. Bit's neural patterns are being sent directly to their mothership. Suddenly, all of Han's screens went blank. Then they lit up again with new patterns, patterns Han had never seen before. "What's happening?" Captain Kim asked, alarmed. Han's eyes widened. "They're responding. They're sending a message back." Everyone gathered around the screens. Complex patterns flowed across them, beautiful and strange. "Can you understand what they're saying?" Li Yuna asked. "Not yet," Han said. He quickly connected the incoming signal to Bit's neural interface. "But Bit might help us." The small ferret woke up as the alien patterns flowed into his interface. He stood very still, his eyes focused as if seeing something far away. Han watched his computer screen as it translated Bit's brain responses. Slowly, concepts began to form, not words, but ideas and images that Han could partly understand. "They're curious," Han said slowly, interpreting what he saw. "They didn't expect us to communicate this way. They thought humans couldn't understand complex thought patterns." "What else?" Captain Kim pressed. Han concentrated on the screen. "They're surprised about Bit. They want to know more about how a small Earth animal helped us." For the next hour, Han worked to understand more of the Urson message. The others waited anxiously, watching the bear machines that still surrounded them but remained motionless. "I think I understand their full message now," Han finally said. "The Ursons travel throughout the galaxy, testing different species. They look for intelligence, but not just any intelligence. They look for species that can communicate across different forms of thought. And they thought we failed that test," Park Minho said. "Yes," Han confirmed. "Until now. Until Bit helped us bridge the gap between human and Urson thinking." "So what happens next?" Li Yuna asked. Before Han could answer, his equipment detected another signal. This one was different, simpler and clearer. "They're sending a new message," Han said. "One that's easier for us to understand. They're adapting to our way of thinking." The team waited as Han read the new message. "They want to meet," he said finally. "They want to meet the humans who found a way to communicate with them. And they especially want to meet Bit." Captain Kim looked doubtful. "It could be a trap." "I don't think so," Han said. "Look outside." They all turned to the windows. The bear machines were moving again, but not toward them. They were walking away, retreating from the radio tower. "They're giving us space," Han said, "showing that they don't want to fight anymore. Should we trust them?" Li Yuna asked. Han looked at Bit, who seemed calm and unafraid. "I think we should. We've proven we can communicate. Now we need to show we can trust." He turned to his equipment and began composing a new message using the translation system he had built. "What are you telling them?" Captain Kim asked. "That we accept their invitation," Han said. "That we'll meet them. And that we're bringing Bit, the small creature who helped us understand them." Han sent the message. Minutes later, all the screens lit up with a simple pattern that even the humans could understand. A circle with a dot in the middle. "What does it mean?" Park asked. "Center," Han translated. "It means they'll meet us at the center." "The center of what?" Li Yuna wondered. Han looked out the window toward the distant horizon. "The center of everything that's happened. The first city they destroyed." "Seoul," Captain Kim said quietly. Han nodded. "We're going back to Seoul." The journey back to Seoul was strange. They drove through empty towns and broken cities, but the bear machines were gone. The giant metal creatures had disappeared overnight. Where did they all go? Li Yuna wondered as they passed through what was once a busy city, now silent and partly destroyed. "Back to their mothership, probably," Han said. He held Bit's travel cage carefully on his lap. The small ferret was calm, sleeping most of the time. Their van was not alone. 3 military vehicles followed them. Inside were soldiers and what remained of Earth's leaders. When Han had told them about the Urson's message, They had been skeptical, but with the bare machines suddenly gone, they had to believe something had changed. "There it is," Captain Kim said as they crested a hill. Seoul. The city looked very different now. Many buildings were crushed. Streets were broken. And in the center of the city was something new. A massive silver disk hovering 100 feet above the ground. "The mothership," Park Min-ho whispered. They drove as close as they could, then walked the rest of the way. Han carried Bit in his arms. The ferret was awake now, his eyes fixed on the silver disk. "Are you sure about this?" Captain Kim asked Han quietly. "No," Han admitted, "but it's our best chance." They stopped in what was once a city square. The silver disk hummed softly above them. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then a beam of light shot down from the disk, touching the ground 30 feet in front of them. The light widened, and something began to form inside it. A shape appeared, tall and slender, with 4 arms and a head that looked nothing like a human's. It was an Urson. The alien was at least 8 feet tall. Its skin was covered in short silver fur. Its head had no visible mouth, but had 3 large eyes that blinked independently of each other. It stood perfectly still, watching them. Han stepped forward. "I am Han Ju," he said clearly. "This is Bit, who helped us understand your language." He held up Bit. The ferret twitched his whiskers but showed no fear. The alien tilted its head. Then it raised one of its 4 hands. A small device appeared in its palm, and suddenly Han heard a voice in his head. "We are the Ursons," the voice said. "We have traveled the stars for many cycles, seeking others who can truly communicate." Everyone could hear it, not with their ears, but directly in their minds. "Why did you attack us?" Captain Kim demanded. "Why destroy our cities?" The alien's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "We did not attack. We tested, as we have tested 1,000 species before you." "Tested?" Han asked. "By destroying our cities. We must know if a species can adapt," the voice explained. "If they can move beyond simple words and sounds to true understanding. Many species build tools and machines, but few can bridge the gap between different ways of thinking." The alien pointed one long finger at Bit. "You used this small one to understand us. No other species has done this. They try to fight, or they hide, or they use only their own ways of communication." Han stroked Bit's fur. "He helped us see patterns we couldn't see ourselves." "Yes," the voice said. "You recognize that other minds perceive the universe differently. This is rare and valuable." The alien moved forward slowly. It reached out one hand toward Bit. Han hesitated, then held the ferret closer to the alien. Bit sniffed the alien's hand, curious but not afraid. "Your cities can be rebuilt," the voice said. "We will help, and we will share knowledge with you. But first, we must fully understand each other." "How?" Han asked. The alien's 3 eyes focused on him. "Your small one helped you understand our thoughts. Now you must help us understand yours." "I can do that," Han said confidently. Behind him, the Earth's leaders watched in amazement. The creatures that had nearly destroyed their world were now offering peace and knowledge. "Will you trust us?" the alien asked. "As this small one trusts you." Han looked down at Bit, then back at the Urson. "Yes," he said. "We will trust you." The light around the alien grew brighter, expanding to include Han and Bit. Inside the light, a new kind of conversation began, one that would change humanity forever. 1 year later, Seoul looked very different. The destroyed buildings were gone. New ones stood in their place, some human-designed, others with the curved, flowing style of Urson architecture. In the center of the city was a tall tower unlike any on Earth before. It was the communication center, where humans and Ursons worked together. Han walked into the main hall of the center, Bit riding on his shoulder. The ferret was older now, but still alert and active. He wore a tiny version of the translator badges that humans use to speak with Ursons. "Good morning, Ambassador Han," said a young woman at the front desk. Han smiled. He was still not used to his new title. "Good morning, Min. Any messages?" "The Urson Council would like to meet with you at noon," she said. Han nodded and continued to his office. Inside, the walls were covered with charts showing different neural patterns: human, Urson, and various Earth animals. On his desk sat a small silver model of a bear machine, now a reminder of the past rather than a thing of fear. Captain Kim was waiting for him. She wore the uniform of the new Earth Defense Force, which now worked with Ursons to protect the planet from other potential threats. "The new translation system is ready," she said. "Park and Lee have tested it with 10 different species." "Good," Han said, setting Bit down on a special cushion on his desk. "The Ursons will be pleased." In the year since first contact, much had changed. The Ursons had helped rebuild Earth's cities using their advanced technology. They had shared medical knowledge that cured many human diseases, and they had welcomed Earth into a galactic community of intelligent species. Han had learned that the Ursons had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. They had met many species, but few had passed their test of true communication. The test was not about fighting skill or technology, but about understanding different ways of thinking. "Do you ever regret it?" Captain Kim asked suddenly. "Becoming an ambassador instead of going back to your research?" Han thought for a moment. "No," he said. "This is more important. We're building bridges between minds. And I still get to do research, just with better equipment." They both laughed. Then a soft chime sounded, indicating that an Urson was approaching. The door opened and a tall silver-furred figure entered. It was Tala, the first Urson Han had met in the city square a year ago. "Greetings, Han Juwu," Tala said, using the translator to speak in a human voice. "And greetings to Small Bit, the bridge builder." Bit chirped happily, recognizing Tala. The Ursons had a special respect for the ferret who had helped humans understand them. "We have news," Tala said. "The Council has approved your proposal. 5 human families will join the next exploration mission to the star system you call Alpha Centauri." Han smiled widely. This was what he had been working for: humans and Ursons exploring space together. "Thank you, Tala," he said. "This means a lot to us." "There is one condition," Tala added. "You and Bit must come as well. Your ability to build bridges between different minds will be valuable." Han looked at Bit, who was watching him with bright eyes. "What do you think, Bit? Ready for a space adventure?" The ferret stood on his hind legs and chirped excitedly. "I think that's a yes," Captain Kim said, smiling. Later that day, Han stood on the roof of the communication center, looking out over the rebuilt city. The sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful colors. In the distance, he could see an Urson ship landing, its lights twinkling like stars. He thought about how close Earth had come to destruction, how the appearance of giant bear machines had almost been the end of humanity, and how one small ferret had changed everything. "We never know where answers will come from," he said softly to Bit, who sat contentedly on his shoulder. "Sometimes the smallest things make the biggest difference." In 2 months, they would leave Earth for the stars. Humans would join the wider galaxy, not as conquerors or victims, but as communicators and bridge builders. And it had all started because Han had brought his pet ferret with him when the world began to end. Bit looked up at the stars that were just beginning to appear in the evening sky. New worlds waited for them out there. New minds to understand. New bridges to build. The Earth had been tested, and because of one man and his small ferret, humanity had passed.